Okay, so let's learn the method on how to solve an equation that contains fractions, a rational equation. So here's the most important concept. It's all about understanding what our goal is. Remember, to solve an equation, our goal is to get the x on the left and the numbers on the right. We want our variable isolated. The problem with equations that contain fractions is it's very difficult to move fractions back and forth. So I'm going to show you today a trick, a way that you can get the fractions out of the equation. Because if the equation had integer values, whole numbers, you have no problem with moving whole numbers back and forth from the left and right. It's going to be moving these fractions. So why don't we just get rid of them? So that's the first rule of thumb. When you have an equation that contains fractions, do not start moving the terms. The first goal is, let's wipe out the fractions. Well, how do we do that? Well, we understand our definitions. A fraction has the fraction bar. And the fraction bar means what operation? That's right, it means division. Well, you guys and gals know how to get rid of division. You do the inverse operation, which is multiplication. So that's easy. To wipe the fractions out of the equation, all we're going to do is take all the terms and multiply them. Now, it's going to matter what number we multiply by. Remember, an equation is a balance. So think about this. Could I take the left side of the equation and multiply it by 4 and take the right side of the equation and multiply it by 2? No, because it wouldn't be balanced. Think about making a recipe. Does it make sense if you have a recipe, if you double the eggs, you automatically quadruple the sugar? No, your recipe wouldn't be balanced. So the problem is, to get rid of fractions, we want to use multiplication, but we have to multiply every term by the same number. That number has a name you've heard from 3rd grade. It's the LCD, the least common denominator. So all we got to do is go back to our 3rd grade skills. We're going to look at our denominator, find the least common denominator. That's the number we're going to multiply by. So if you look at the PowerPoint, here's that equation. X divided by 10 equals 48 over 15. We're trying to solve. We're trying to get x by itself. Well, x is stuck in a fraction. So the rule of thumb is the first thing you do is get rid of the fraction. To get rid of the fraction, you need the least common denominator. So everybody look at the denominators. You got a 10 and a 15. What is the least common denominator of 10 and 15? What is the smallest number 10 and 15 have in common on their times tables? Well, the times tables for 10 are easy. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. The times tables for 15 are 15, 30, 45, 60, etc. The smallest number they had in common was 30, so that's what we're going to use. So if you look at the PowerPoint, I multiplied the left side by 30, and I multiplied the right side by 30. So that's why the parentheses went around the fractions, to show multiplication. I'm multiplying by the same number, so I'm keeping my equation balanced. Now, we've talked about this. If you read the left side, it says 30 times x divided by 10. You hear multiplication, you hear division. Mom and dad are equal. It doesn't matter if you multiply first, then divide, or divide first and then multiply. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what would make more sense? Do you want to multiply first and make the term bigger? Or do you want to divide first and make the term smaller? Seeing we're not allowed to use calculators, wouldn't it make sense we divide first always? So what you're going to do is you're going to take that 30 and divide it by your denominator, 10. So 30 divided by 10 on the left side would leave you 3, with still the x. On the right side, you're going to take that 30 and divide it by the denominator, 15. 30 divided by 15 would give you 2, and you still have the 48. So now your equation is 3 times x, which is 3x, and 2 times 48, which is 96. Now everybody look at that. 3x equals 96. Isn't that a simple linear equation? To solve for x, you divide both sides by 3, and you would get x is 32. So that's the moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing fancy, no new concepts, just understanding. If your equation contains fractions, rational expressions, the first thing you do is wipe them out using multiplication of the LCD. Okay, let's try another example on the whiteboard.